Beautiful friends, welcome to Unfold Your Soul. Welcome to this reading where I will give you some intuitive messages and also some astrological landscape to the solar eclipse we have occurring on the 10th of June. The effects of the solar eclipse will be unfolding over the next 6 months. We do not have all the information yet, especially not because this is an eclipse that is joined with Mercury retrograde, and Mercury is the ruler of this eclipse. So to begin with, it is a solar eclipse. What does that mean? The moon is standing between the sun and the earth. So the light of the sun is blocked. The sun is our solar force. It's our sense of identity. It's our life force, our prana. The sun is also the great healer. We need the rays of the sun to make sound decisions. Now, the ruler of this eclipse is Mercury, and Mercury is in retrograde. This makes this all the more confusing. There is so much information. There are so many options. So I would like to just speak to the aspects. I have the chart here open below this screen, so I will be referring to that and to see what are the possibilities here and what we can be aware of, because when we're aware, we can navigate the energies more easily. So as I already mentioned, it is a solar eclipse. It is in the sign of Gemini. And Gemini, in essence, it is esoterically, from a soul perspective, about merging with our higher self, about seeing both our lower self and our higher self and finding that unity. It is also about relating, communication, relationships. So if Gemini North Node means that we're becoming our own best friend, we're strengthening our intuitive gift along the way, but we're on a trajectory towards a place where we can correctly relate with other human beings. So Gemini is a mutable sign, and it's about duality. It's about the duality of our higher and our lower self, but this can reflect in our day-to-day reality, in the tangible aspect of life, into options. With this Mercury retrograde, there are several options. It's a lot of energy. It's friends from the past. It is connections from the past. With the square to Neptune, they might show up in your dreams as well. The veil between the worlds is extra thin during a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, for that matter. So this is a great time actually to take it inwards, to not take any important decisions, to not set new intentions yet, because we do not have the healing light of the sun to guide us. Now, if you're riding a high wave and you are feeling very connected to your intuition at the moment, of course, you go ahead with things. This will more speak to people who are feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the information, by all the data, by all the requests. Because this is a solar eclipse about purpose. We can feel that there is a purpose to all of this, but we do not have all the information yet. We rather have a whole myriad of options at our disposal. Now, it is a North Node eclipse, so we are going towards this future of correct human relationships. There is the past informing us or obscuring what we need to know. With this square in Neptune, and Neptune is in Pisces, so it is at home there, it is maturing there, and it is at a new degree. The new degree, it's 23 degrees. I looked up the Sabian symbol for this degree, and it's Spiritist's phenomena. So it is about these things of the intangible world that we cannot see. It's about everything being interconnected, about the symbols of life, our trains of synchronicity that we sometimes follow, sometimes might be overwhelming to us. Now, with this square, there is a challenge to this eclipse. There might be some illusions, some deceptions, some kind of things that we are not yet aware of. I also feel that healers and teachers with this Pisces energy squaring this eclipse will be overextending their vital energy. Also, people who are naturally very therapeutic to other human beings might be very solicited at this moment because the energy is just so intense. So please do take time to take care of yourself and to, if possible, if you have the opportunity to meditate during the eclipse and not undertake any action, especially not impulsive action, that would be absolutely great. So spiritist phenomena. This might be a time where your dreams are especially vivid, where you receive messages during your dreams, where your friends are particularly active, or past connections are particularly active, as if sending a message to you. This is a great time to connect with your source. I also see that Venus, and that's where we can find repose, where we can find leisure, is in Cancer now. So this is about finding your safe space in your home, beautifying the home, bringing more love in the home. So there you can really find some security, some sense of belonging, and some sense of like, okay, I can ground here. Showers, super important here, because there's so much that can attach to us right now, because it is very mercurial. What do I mean by that? There's so many options, informations in the air, and you might feel a bit confused and overwhelmed by that. So when we take a shower, especially at night before going into bed, we give ourselves to the night in a clean way. And Cancer is cardinal water, so that's like a waterfall. We all have a shower in our house. It's like a private waterfall. All we need is a bit of imagination, right? So we have that imagination with Neptune in Pisces, and with Jupiter there supporting as well. And that's very interesting. Jupiter is gonna go retrograde next week. So that will be great for us to integrate. Well, maybe it's not next week. I think it's rather at the solstice on the 20th of June. But still, we will have some breathing space, because there's been ample opportunities delivered to us for forgiveness, for experiencing life from a space of oneness beyond duality. So all of that is been set in motion, and this is rather a glimpse of what will transpire after this eclipse has come full circle in 2022. The full moon in Gemini, which will be the harvest of this eclipse, this is happening on the 19th of December. So that's what I mean by this 6-month cycle that we're going through. Going back to Jupiter. Jupiter wants us to be abundant, wants to give us opportunity, and is addressing this abundance consciousness for us. So it's showing us, giving us little glimpses of what will be possible as from 2022. We are transmuting the belief system of former generations that relationship demands self-sacrifice and martyrdom. And we are designing with our language, Gemini, with the way we speak about things, brighter possibilities, more beautiful ways of relating to one another. But Jupiter's retrograde is going to help us integrate. It might be nice to lay low for a bit, to, if possible, like eclipse days, they're so great to go inwards and to meditate, because the veil between the worlds is extra thin, and we can actually strengthen our intuition if we truly listen. Might be hard because there's so much input, so many things coming in. However, there is harmony here as well. Saturn is at 13 degrees of Aquarius here, and Saturn, it's where we experience our limitations, yes, but it's also a planet that will give us rewards when we do the hard work. And here in a trine to this eclipse, to this North Node in Gemini at least, it's telling me that, okay, focus on the long-term vision. Beautify that. Meditate on that. Hold that in your heart. That's the safest way to work with this eclipse. What is it that you want for yourself when you look ahead? Cher once said, will this matter in 5 years? And I think that with all the things that are asked of us, all the choices that we have, and the decisions that you maybe feel pressing upon you, it's a really good thing to remember. If it will matter in 5 years, okay, send your focus there. If not, maybe it's time to just retreat in the house and not take too much action right now. Mars is also at the critical degree of Cancer, so we're preparing for a victory when Mars will go into Leo and be more in its natural fire energy. Now it's more like, okay, our masculine part of ourselves, our yang, is learning how to feel. So let's see what we can do with that. Another masculine thing that is happening, Chiron is still in Aries, and it will be there for quite a while more. But it's also in a positive aspect, collaborating with this eclipse. So in Aries, Mars has been revealing childhood wounds, problems with the men in our life, problems with issues with how we react to situations, our impulsive self, and how that is linked to the childhood education that we received, or the kind of parenting style that we had, the attachment style in relationships that we might have developed from that early wounding or early, maybe glorious bonding you were able to live. So this being said, that we are not yet in a Chiron retrograde, so we are still building up. There's still new information that we are getting. However, Chiron is maturing there too. It's no longer in the first degrees. So there's a more mature aspect to this, and we can more clearly see how we can integrate this in our personality to communicate with others from a more beautiful sense of self, from a more rooted sense of self. If we look at things from a soul evolutionary perspective, Chiron is like the rainbow bridge, the kind of wings we can put on to access the energies of Uranus, of Neptune. Uranus, our genius, Neptune, our inner superstar, and Pluto, the soul. So before we were able to perceive Chiron and receive the energies, we had to stop at Saturn. Those rings, those shall not pass, our responsibility. So this gives us a real opportunity to go further and deepen our human experience, what is really beautiful. So I'm really liking this aspect here. At large, this eclipse season in Sagittarius Gemini is about letting go of old belief systems that are no longer serving us, to enter into a new era of communication, relationship to one another that is healthier, building to the Gemini archetype, also the lovers, how do they communicate with one another. This eclipse season will finish at the end of the year. It's always 18 months, a year and a half, that we're eclipsing on the same axis. So I pulled up the chart of the full moon in Gemini. There was an aspect which talks of a critical adjustment, a quincunx we call it, to Pluto, which will be conjunct Venus. And I found that particularly interesting because Pluto-Venus, it's a karmic aspect. Venus-Pluto wants to evolve, transform through relationships, through love. So this conversation is going to stress once more that before we can be successfully involved in relationships with others, we have to be emotionally sovereign. We have to love ourselves first. That's Venus. Both aspects of Venus are present there. Self-love, and from that place connecting to others. The thing is with this aspect is that it can draw in people with whom we have unfinished business from past lives. And that is a beautiful thing in a way, because we can evaluate for ourselves at that moment when we come across this person who has this powerful effect on us, and maybe this person is already being drawn in, because eclipses, there is no time if there ever was. So we will be able to feel for ourselves if we are still falling in love, falling into old belief systems, old patterns, letting the past dominate our present, or if we are rising in love. So with that message, I thank you so much for being here with me. If you have not yet subscribed, that would really help my channel forward. I do appreciate that. Do feel welcome to reach out and to also check where this eclipse is falling in your chart, where 20 degrees of Gemini is falling, because that's most likely the sector where you will see these events played out. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for subscribing and for commenting. I love to read you, see how this works out for you. And I send you so much love. Thank you.